Hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. Now, this is a hypnosis session that was created for a client that wanted to be in a relationship. They were single and they wanted to be in a relationship, but not any relationship. They had quite a clear idea of certain standards that they would need to really exist within the relationship and the dynamic and their partner in order for it to be something they would actually want. And I think that's really important. That's not a shallow thing. That's not a negative thing, because actually nobody would want to be in a relationship where they're settling, that they feel resentful or they feel like this is the best they can do. So having high standards is really, really important. But this particular client had felt that they'd got into a state where it was becoming a bit of a chore to find someone, and that how they came across in like dates and conversations were a bit standoffish, and therefore they were reducing the very probability of connecting with someone that did meet their criteria. So there's two key elements of that. Where do you find someone that meets the kind of high standards that you have? And then how do they get to see the very best version of you, where you get to explore whether or not they're the right fit for you in this synergistic way without it seeming like a job interview. So this is at its very core about being serious about standards and playful about the pursuit. And that's a very, very powerful combination. Imagine the opposite, someone that is kind of non-serious about their standards. They'll take anyone, but very serious in the whole process of finding that person. That would just be a very odd dynamic. So being serious about the standards, immovable with the standards, what your standards are, you do not detract from those standards, but playful about how you find out about that. And the interesting thing is that if you are genuinely curious and playful in your communication, people want to talk about themselves, they'll open up. And you get to decide if, when you get to know that person better, if they kind of fit with the kind of person that you would want to be with. Now, I appreciate there's lots of different relationships. Some people are looking for a life partner. Some people are looking for something for now. Other people are looking for hookups. It doesn't really matter what kind of relationship that you're looking about. Standards are standards, and they're your standards. They're no one else. No one else gets to decide what is attractive and what isn't. That's for you. But you increase the probability if it feels fun to kind of interact and kind of find someone new, particularly if you're single and want to be in a relationship. So if any of those connect and resonate with you, you might get some value from this session. It was created for an individual. Some of their criteria probably won't be your criteria, and vice versa. So if you do like the idea of a bespoke session created for you, there will be links in the show notes where you can take a suitability test, watch a webinar about how hypnosis can help when lots of other things can't, and various other resources too. So check out the description for lots of free resources. For now though, I'd encourage you to find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation, and as you exhale, feel a wonderful sense of release, as if any tension, stress or worries are gently leaving your body in your outward breath. That's it. breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension. And just scan your body for any clues of tension, maybe in your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. That's it. Focus on those tiny muscles in your forehead. And as you breathe in, just allow yourself to breathe in deeper and longer. And as you exhale, give permission to really release. Just feeling like any frustrations, any resentment, any feelings of burden, heaviness, just allow them to gradually, incrementally leave your body in that outward breath. That's it. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe. Each breath takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to imagine a wardrobe perhaps where you live right now. And I want you to imagine this wardrobe is like a Narnia wardrobe. Except when you walk through the wardrobe, it doesn't take you to Narnia. It takes you to Rio in Brazil. And just keep your physical body there as you allow your imagination to think of that wardrobe. Imagine opening the doors of that wardrobe. And as you walk through, just imagine the clothes keep on going. And as you continue walking through and past the clothes, suddenly you appear. You appear there on the promenade of Copacabana in Rio. And I want you to imagine you're wearing exactly the clothes you would want to wear there in Rio. Maybe you could imagine sunshine and blue skies. Maybe you could imagine hearing the large waves crash there on the shore. Maybe there's the sound of other people on the beach, maybe playing volleyball or football, maybe just laughing and joking there on the beach. And I want you to imagine walking barefoot on the sand, the long beach that leads to the sea. And I wonder if you could imagine what it would feel like to place a big blanket there on the sand, and just imagine lying there on the blanket on the sandy beach under the sunshine. And I want you to connect with a feeling of connectedness. What it would feel like to really be at peace. To think of a time when you thought of this and now you're living this. Connect with the idea that you can fulfill your wishes. You did it here. And you can do it in different areas of your life too. As you lie there on the blanket, I'm going to count down from 10 to 1. And I want you to imagine what it would feel like to drift off into a dream-like sleep where each descending number takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. 10. Eyelids getting heavier. That's it. 9. Breathing in relaxation, exhaling tension, your jaw loosening. 8. That's it. Your neck and your shoulders just feeling more and more relaxed. That's it. 7. Just feel your arms getting limp, loose and heavy. Almost like your arms are the arms of a puppet with no strings. 7 becomes 6, and now focus inside. Imagine your lungs relaxing, your stomach relaxing. That's it. Your heart relaxing, your gut relaxing. All of your insides are relaxing. Any anxiety or tension there in the gut just disappears. As 6 becomes 5, now deep into the gut. Feel how relaxed it could be. That's it. 4 going down into your legs. Top of your legs feeling limp, loose and heavy down into your calf muscles. 3. And then 2, just feel your arms and your legs all limp and loose. There on the beach on the blanket. And then 1, just feel a ripple of relaxation all the way from your toes to the top of your head, all the way back down to the tips of your fingers, drifting off into a dreamlike sleep. And in that dreamlike sleep, I want you to think of a memory. Perhaps a memory many years ago. Maybe it was a relationship that came to an end. Or maybe it was a time where you were settling, compromising too much. Maybe it was a date that didn't lead to a second date. But when you can think of a memory like that in your past, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to drift back to that moment, to a point not long after when you were on your own. Remember where you were living back then. Maybe you remember a bedroom or a lounge, just a private area. And I want you to meet that younger version of yourself and just listen. Hear their frustrations, hear their sadness, hear their harsh criticism of themselves. And now, being you from the future with all of your wisdom, you can see that some of what they're criticizing themselves about had nothing to do with them. They're just misinterpreting preference or circumstance or situation with a personal defect, and correct them. Let them know that this was not about them. And just listen. Ask them what they want in a relationship. And when they tell you all of those things on their criteria, keep probing. And what else? And what's more important? And what's really important? Because sometimes we sell ourselves on a story, and sell ourselves on that story for so long we start believing that story to be true. But as you communicate with that younger version of you, play detective. Figure out what that younger version of you really wants in a relationship. Maybe it's more than you think. Maybe it's different to what you've been thinking. I want you to ask that younger version of them, would they be willing to dial down their standards, to compromise, just to be in a relationship, if it meant that being in that relationship could risk having the real relationship that they wanted? If that younger version of you
is not willing to compromise on their standards, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to give some wisdom to that younger version of you. Tell them that they can have high standards and they could be serious about those standards. But tell them they don't need to be serious about how they find the person that meets those standards. Ask them what they think to the idea of being serious about their standards and playful about the process. And if they're willing to adopt that change, let me know by nodding your head. Reassure them. Being serious about the standards means never compromising. Holding their standards of discernment to even higher levels. But they can be playful about how they figure out if those standards can be met. They don't need to vet. They don't need to interview or grill. They can just ask playful, curious questions and then interpret whether those standards can be met from words, but more importantly, actions and behaviors. That when people show you who they are, you can believe them. And I want you to ask that younger version of you if they're willing to maintain those high standards. To never play small and never settle. And if they're willing to never lower the standards, but be flexible in finding the person that meets them, let me know by nodding your head. That's it, and just give one final bit of wisdom. Tell that younger version of you that if things don't work out, it's because they weren't meant to be. It doesn't have to be personal. It doesn't need deep reflection and criticism. And that doesn't mean that there can't be things that can be learned or refined. It just doesn't have to mean that. That if they choose to be better, choose to learn, choose to be more interested, more engaging, that's just a bonus. It's just not a requirement. And as you see this younger version of you integrating this wisdom you now have back in that point in time, feel a ripple through space and time all the way to the present, almost like you're taking your own advice, and feel that you've lived with that advice for it to become second nature now. I want you to give a gift to that younger version of you, something that you would have wanted back then. An emotional resource, maybe belief, worthiness, maybe permission, playfulness. Give it to that younger version of you as a glowing ball of energy and see them take it. Embrace it, hold it to their heart, and absorb those wonderful resources. And feel those resources ripple through space and time into your present, like you've had this resource for a long time. But that younger version of you also had something that you've lost. And I want you to think of the quality you had back then that you would love to have in more abundance now. And see that younger version of you give you that as the gift. Whatever resource you had more in the past than you have now, take it. Hold it to your chest. Absorb that resource and feel it integrating within you. Give that younger version of you a hug and then float forward into a future. Float 1 year into the future from the present, this time as an observer. I want you to see a romantic evening that you're having 1 year from now with the relationship that you're in. Maybe it's a meal, maybe it's a special occasion. I want you to see how you smile, how relaxed and happy you seem and look. And I want you to see the qualities, but not the face of the person you're with in that future. Maybe it's someone strong, intelligent, capable, stable. Allow your imagination to show you how they have those qualities. Maybe they're successful, maybe there's clues to the success. I want you to see synergy. I want you to imagine a glowing circle of all the things that you value in a relationship going around you like you're in the center of that circumference. And then imagine the person you're with also has a glowing circle of all the things they look for in a relationship. And I want you to see how these two glowing circles overlap. Because that's what it is. When the things that you are and have and offer are the same things that someone else desires, and who they happen to be and are and have are what you desire, that is the ingredients of a relationship based on synergy. Each of you benefits from the company of the other. Both lives are enriched. Both lives are enhanced. Each of you is able to make the other happier than they could be alone. And if you can see that future, your life enhanced, their life enhanced, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then just imagine you're able to see the key steps that it took to make that relationship happen. Go all the way back in time to how they first saw you. Maybe someone you work with. Maybe someone in your gym or your walking route. Maybe you're someone on a dating app or in a club. Maybe it was somewhere that you weren't expecting, like a supermarket. And then just see how that chance encounter or initial contact led to questions, conversations. Notice how playful they were. You were gathering all the information you needed, but not in a serious way. No rushing to have that first date. But see that when there was a first date, you were excited for it, hopeful for it. And see the energy, the personality, the version of you that you presented on that first date. Serious about your standards, playful about the process. And notice how easily you were able to discern whether or not they had what you were looking for. And once you knew, you could be interested as well as interesting, curious to learn more about them. See how you were proactive, thoughtful, but also enabled them to demonstrate the effort and intention. So you knew you could evaluate. You mattered to them. See the ripple effect of one date leads to another. What you paid attention to. The value you created for them, the value they created for you. And see how in this process there were no expectations, only appreciations. You appreciated when things felt good. A good conversation, a nice compliment, effort was made, perhaps a gift. No expecting it, just appreciating it. And see the lightness of energy of that version of you. And then see how something that started off as a casual conversation became dating, became an exclusive relationship. Allow your imagination to give you a roadmap, not of certainty, but of increased probability. Knowing that at any point in time, if you thought that this had run its course, this was no longer something you desired, see yourself with the confidence to end it if you choose to give you the time, energy, and emotion to pursue something that would give you that potential return. And then fast forward and see yourself in that committed, exclusive relationship with that stable, secure person of integrity and authenticity. I want you to get a sense that this is not a probability or even a possibility. That when you allow yourself to be fully yourself with your high standards and playful process, what you truly desire is inevitable. It's just a matter of time. And as you hold that thought, imagine floating all the way back to that blanket on the beach there in Rio. Imagine getting up off the blanket, walking to the ocean, feeling the water on your feet, and feeling that your levels of optimism and belief that you can attract what you truly desire is now a certainty within you. You feel worthy and deserving of love, connection, and a relationship that meets your high standards. And as you accept those beliefs to be true, it's time to leave this place. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.